Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 27th Arvin and Lamont CSC meeting. For those who are just joining, we're just going to give it another minute or so while some people are still signing on. But feel free to ask any questions to your facilitator team or the Air District as we wait. It'll just be another minute.
Yeah, I want to ask a question. Do we have anything for public awareness on the list?
Can I ask, can you clarify what you mean public awareness, like outreach and communication?
Yeah, communication, education for the public and citizens for Lamont and Arvin?
Yes, so just to remind folks, I believe it was our meeting 3 meetings ago, we had a pretty in-depth conversation. It's not on today's agenda, but we're happy to make that, have an update on an upcoming agenda to talk more and maybe provide more of an update on what is going on there.
I would like to put this on the table. I want a billboard, electronic billboard here, Lamont and Arvin, to give information to the people when saying, for the environment or whatever, or anybody, like CARB or WEHA or whatever, got information for the people, they could put it on there. And the Air District could put how the air is and all that.
Thank you, Mario. I just wrote that down, and obviously we have, I see a thumbs up. We have our outreach team on here, and let's keep that as a community suggestion for some outreach.
I would love to see something like that here in Lamont and Arvin. To have better communication with the community.
Yeah, I hear you. Thank
Okay.
you, Liz. Thank you, Mario.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for bringing that really good idea forward, and we'll definitely take note of it. And if we can't talk about it tonight, we'll talk about it at the agenda setting meeting. Yeah, so I think we can go ahead and get started. So good evening again to everyone who's joining tonight. Welcome to our Arvin and Lamont CSE meeting. My name is Liz, and I'm joined here tonight by my co-facilitator, Amy, and we are here from the Harder & Company facilitation team. As usual, the two of us will be working behind the scenes to take attendance, offer technical assistance, and offer any other support to everyone in the meeting to ensure that everyone is able to fully engage. If at any point you're having trouble with Zoom or the interpretation, please do feel free to reach out to any one of us with questions through Zoom chat, and we would be happy to help. So before we open it up for our welcome and introductions, we'll take a few minutes to walk us through our housekeeping slides. So on my screen, I'm showing you a slide that might be very familiar already. These are some instructions for how to select your language channel for interpretation. So I will now pass it off to our Lingüística team to take a moment to guide us through these steps.
Thank you. Buenas tardes a todos. El día de hoy tenemos el servicio de interpretación disponible. Si se están conectando desde su computadora, en la parte de abajo del menú de Zoom van a ver un globo. Por favor, hacen clic en el globo, seleccionan español y luego silenciar audio original. Y si están utilizando un dispositivo móvil o una tableta, por favor pueden tocar su pantalla, seleccionar los 3 puntos, luego interpretación de idiomas, español, silenciar audio original y para finalizar su opción pueden seleccionar finalizado, terminado o listo. And for those who are monolingual English speakers, we have interpretation available. If you're using a computer, you'll see at the bottom of the Zoom menu a world icon. You can select it and then select English. And if you're joining from a tablet or your phone, you can tap your screen, select the three dots, and then language interpretation, then select English, and then finish or done. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Is everyone in their language interpretation channel, or is anyone having any troubles right now? Seems like we're all good. Oops. So on your screen, you're seeing the renaming convention, which is important for our attendance tracking and stipend distribution process. So if you are a member of the CSC, we ask that you add that to your Zoom name. For residents who are a member of the stipend program, feel free to put an R in front of your name. And you might notice that your name is changed throughout the evening, and that's just us working behind the scenes to help with attendance. I also want to pause right here for our attendance. We have a 617 on the Zoom call. Could you please unmute yourself? I think we have two 617s actually. So if you see that as your Zoom name, please unmute and tell us what your name is. And feel free to put it in the chat. We'll also check back later to make sure that we get everyone. So here we have another reminder about the naming conventions. If you are not a member of the CSE, we ask that you write your organization name. If you are a member of the public, we ask that you put a P in front of your name. Here we have a slide for our virtual meeting etiquette. So we ask that you stay muted unless you are speaking. If you are joining by the phone, you can press *6 to mute and unmute yourself. If you have a question or any thoughts that you would like to share, we ask that you raise your Zoom hand or put it in the chat for us to read out loud. If you are on the phone and would like to raise your Zoom hand, you can do that by pressing *9. And then another reminder to our residents who are part of the stipend program to stay on for at least 90 minutes of our 2-hour meeting tonight. So this slide here is a review of your group agreements. So everyone here has agreed to help achieve the meeting goals by focusing on solutions, opportunities, and productive dialogue. We want to make sure we're mindful of creating space for everyone to participate. We ask for everyone to be kind and respectful, knowing that it's okay to disagree as long as we do it with respect and with empathy. In these meetings, we've also agreed to stay on point and on time. So we ask that you keep your comments brief so everyone has a chance to participate. If we are running a little bit over time for an agenda item, we will ask the CSC whether they would like to table that conversation for a future meeting or change the agenda and possibly go over our time. So we'll give that decision to you. Next, we agreed to attack the problem and not the person when we disagree. And then finally, we agreed to seek common ground. Building consensus and finding shared values will help us all achieve the best results. And so here is our agenda for this evening. As a reminder, the agenda topics for tonight come from the topics that are requested by CSE members. And we hear that through previous CSE meetings and now through our agenda setting meetings. So as usual, we'll begin with our welcome and opening remarks from the Air District and our co-leads. Then we'll have our usual time to review the action item tracker. We'll move on to an exciting presentation on the Fresca project, which our new co-lead has been involved in I just saw your cat. It's very cute. We'll move on to a continuation of the road paving and sidewalk installation discussion that we had at our last meeting, this time with extra clarity on what those actionable next steps are. Then we will move on to some standing updates before we wrap up and then have our final public comment. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And as a reminder, let's see. I think so we can move to our welcoming remarks. Just want to thank everybody again for coming tonight and welcome to our new season of spring. We hope that everyone has still been staying safe as the rain continues to hit California over the past several weeks, it seems. And in addition to the new season, we are excited to have a special meeting tonight where we welcome our new co-lead, Cesar. He was voted in and approved by the CSC in our meeting last month and will be joining Bianca as the new co-lead. This role is something that's unique to the Arvin and Lamont community. And as a facilitator, we can definitely tell how important this is to making sure that every voice in your community is heard and a part of the process. So with that, I would love to get us started and invite our co-leads in the Air District to share some opening remarks, and would love to start off with Cesar.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, thank you for everyone that is part of this process, from all of these meetings to back when we were in person. And even before, there's a lot of members that are on the CSC right now that were going down to Sacramento asking the board to help, make 617 a reality, to help make it pass. And then once it passed, they started asking to be selected. So there's a lot of people on the committee right now that I'm very grateful to share this space with. Because I know if they are volunteers and they've been dedicated for several years to make sure that things get better in their neighborhood, that they be respected and that they be heard. So I'm honored to be part of the CSE and share the space with both regulatory agencies and community members and even businesses that want to take part in this to help make the Arvin Lamont a better place to live and help make the air quality better. I'm not sure if there are any community members that maybe want to share just a few words and just talk about what's most important to them in this process, and make sure that we remember, centering community voices. So I'm not sure if anyone from Arvin and Lamont would like to share their priorities, and so we can make sure we keep that in mind as we continue the discussions later today. I see Mario giving me a thumbs up. Thank you, Mario. If y'all are shy, please don't be. We love having your voice heard, and sometimes making spaces is important because sometimes space isn't made in processes like this. So we are community led, we are community centered. So we make the decisions, and I'm happy that we're here to make those decisions. So thank you for joining me on this decision making journey. Oh,
I would like to see something positive come out of all what we're doing, because we sure need it, and we need people like you, to get real good ideas and try to figure out how to fix up this type of problem, especially when the rules and regulations are getting broken on, from the people who are creating all this problem. But yeah, I want to see something positive. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mario. And hopefully we can help bring that, increased attention and increased scrutiny to our area to make sure that things are better and that rules are reflecting public health. Gabriela, ¿gustarías decir algo?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Gabriela Ojeda, soy residente de Arvin y pues felicidades y gracias por representarnos y sí me gustaría, como lo que pediste que comentáramos cuáles son nuestras prioridades y quisiera que tomaran en cuenta primero las necesidades de la comunidad y después lo demás como carreteras, como los de los ranchos y eso que se quedarán como segundo, tercer nivel. Pero primero las necesidades de la residencia. Por favor. Gracias.
Yeah, thank you, Gabby. And so, hearing from both Mario and Gabby, I think it's important to note that this 617 was made for community-led, out-of-the-box thinking, and that's what we're here to do. So with a lot of ideas and a lot of stuff that we've submitted already, we're going to see later on with a PowerPoint that the Air District has made. So if you do see your ideas reflected and you feel heard, I'm happy for that. And if there are more things that you would like to be heard about, this is the perfect space to do it. So we'll talk a little bit more about those needs later on. And I think it is important, like Abby said, to make sure that 617 does what its mission is set out to do. And that's, help community leaders find community-led solutions for emission reduction.
Thank you so much for making that space. Yeah, Maria, go ahead.
Hola, buenas noches a todos. Pues yo más que nada solamente quiero agradecer a César que ya está con nosotros aquí de colíder y sobre todo que él conoce todas las cosas que en nuestras comunidades nos hacen falta, ya que el estar en este programa de la 617 es algo para nosotros grande porque tenemos muchos problemas en nuestras comunidades, en Arvin, en Lamont, en diferentes ciudades, que estamos luchando cada día con esta contaminación que tenemos en cada una de nuestras ciudades. Y yo creo que este programa de la AB 617 es un gran logro porque nos ayuda a reducir o nos va a ayudar a reducir la contaminación de nuestras comunidades. Y solo yo quiero agradecer que estamos aquí y que vamos a estar unidos todos y luchando y uniendo fuerzas para cualquier proyecto que sea de nuestras comunidades. Gracias.
Thank you so much for sharing. Would anyone else like to share any thoughts from the CSC before we move on? Yeah, Jose.
Sí, muy buenas tardes, muy buenas noches. Mi nombre es José Ojeda. César, tú sabes el motivo, las necesidades de nuestras comunidades y no te vamos a comentar ni nada de eso porque tú bien sabes todo lo que se ocupa, toda la lucha en la que andamos y por eso para nosotros creemos que es un orgullo verte puesto ahí para seguir adelante y echarle fuerzas a lo que viene. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Jose. I think that's a beautiful sentiment. Let's focus on solutions and what we can do from here. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for making that space.
Yeah, Diana, go ahead.
Sí, bueno, yo nada más, pues, apoyando todo lo que ya lo dijeron todos, ¿verdad? César sabe que tiene nuestro apoyo al 100 y estamos contentos que esté aquí. pero lo que quiero agradecer es que gracias, César, porque nos vas a poner que la comunidad somos primero y que somos los que tenemos que decidir cómo vamos a manejar esto de las 617, cuáles son nuestras prioridades y que tomes en cuenta nuestras prioridades de nosotros los residentes. Muchas gracias y como digo, ya lo dijeron los demás todo y segundo todo lo que dijeron todos.
Muchísimas gracias a ustedes. Y me gusta ver la participación sin pena, sin pena. Muchísimas gracias.
Yeah, there's a lot of love for you and respect for the work that you've done, and very excited to have you join the work with us. So Bianca, I would also love to invite you to share any opening remarks if you would like as well.
Yes, I wanted to, I don't know if you could hear me. Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to address the concern from community members as they were mentioning, but also welcoming the new folks that are in the meeting right now. These are new members that have applied and would want to be part of the 617. They're somehow tied to the 617 by having family members, friends, but these are people that are in the ground seeing what's happening and how the 617 could help out the community. So I want to welcome those folks that are in the call and in sharing the space also, because this is something that is for their communities, for our communities, for our families that are there in the ground. And I appreciate that even though they're not part of the 617 or are in the process of being in the 617, they're here. They have been here since last time, and they have continuously been joining the meeting. So it's wonderful to see new faces and seeing how they want to work with the rest of us. And now that we're doing again as a little bit of community concern first, which is the sidewalks and the infrastructure that is happening, it's something that we've continuously had conversation, and I like how the air district and the facilitation have brought it up, so we won't leave it as behind, but giving it it's time to work on it. So thank you.
Thank you, Bianca. Jessica, would love to also invite you.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much, Cesar and Bianca. I will just say this is Jessica Olson. I'm the Director of Community Strategies and Resources with the Air District. Welcome to those of you that are new. We look forward to onboarding some of the new folks that have applied, and so look forward to providing that space, as Bianca said, for just more community involvement. I am so grateful, Cesar, that you allowed folks to share, to open up this meeting. I really look forward to this meeting. And as Bianca said, we are really trying to center, especially today's presentations, but hopefully presentations from here on out moving forward, all on what we've already heard from you. And hopefully that's reflected in our meeting tonight. So I'll just end there. Thank you all for being here, for sharing your time with us. And I look forward to tonight's meeting. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for sharing. Hopefully we can continue that practice and hear more from folks. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is reviewing the action items tracker. So knowing there are new folks in the room tonight, I'll provide some extra framing. We do this agenda item at every meeting to help facilitate transparency and accountability. And the Air District is continuously working to update this tracker in real time to make sure that the community's requests are documented and that you are able to stay informed on the progress that's being made towards implementing your suggestions. We also want to remind folks of a new practice To ensure that members of the public are able to engage more in our meetings, we will be taking public comment specific to each agenda item at the end of that agenda item, once all of the CSC members have had a chance to speak. So instead of having to wait until final public comment, we will make space for you throughout the meeting tonight. But we ask that if your comment is not related to that agenda item, please do save it for the end, for our final public comment. And so as Eric, I think, walks us through our action item tracker, please feel free to ask for any clarification about any of the action items. Happy to pass it off to you, Eric.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Salas, and just piggybacking off of what Liz said, yes, these action items are reoccurring, and we take action items from our previous meetings and kind of address them in our next meeting. And then we do have ongoing and pending and completed action items. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Can all the folks see my screen? Okay. All righty, I'm going to go ahead and start out with our pending action items from our last meeting. And let me go ahead and zoom in. Ooh, all right. So starting with our first action item, 26.1, the Air District will double check the devices administered to the CSC to access Zoom to make sure that the programs are up to date. So we are working with CSC members to help update those accounts on or check devices to see if the updates are required. So I've reached out to some of the CSC members just to see if some of those updates are possible, and we'll continue to reach out to get folks up to date with Zoom and their computers as well. All righty, item 26.2, the Air District will host a new member orientation for any new CSC members. So the Air District will evaluate new applicants and present a new membership orientation presentation meeting item for onboarding new CSC members to the Arvin and Lamont CSC. Next is Caltrans commits to provide informational sheets for projects related to AB 617. So Caltrans will forward relevant information to the district for CSC distribution. Caltrans and other partnering agencies can also update the CSC during the update portion of the agenda. Ready?
Eric, this is Amy. I'm just clarifying as we're taking notes for you all tonight. So does this mean that that is a response to that action? So just to be super clear and turn these into actionable updates, the result is that now Caltrans will continuously give you the update, and then you will pass it like via the email, the new texting system, right? And the same thing for the city of Arvin, sorry. You will continuously collaborate, and it'll kind of funnel through the Air District. Just kind of wanted to put that action on that. Is that right? Okay, thank you.
No, that was perfect, Amy. Thank you for clarifying. All righty. Scroll down. So our next action item, the City of Arvin CSC representative will send a request to Caltrans on behalf of the 223 and Walnut projects. So this is ongoing. The City of Arvin will continue to collaborate with Caltrans on projects the CSC has highlighted as high priority. Next, CSC members are invited to reach out directly to Caltrans representatives to request new projects or more information. So the CSC is more than welcome to reach out to Lorena from Caltrans. Here's her phone number, her email. Go ahead and leave that. And we could post this on the chat as well after the action items are read. All right, next, the Air District will investigate community reports of excess black smoke, pollution flares from Kern Oil Refinery during maintenance times for the air monitor and follow up with the CSC. So the district has requested and received additional records from Kern Energy yesterday. So we are reviewing those records and updating the breakdown reports for the kerosene hydro treater units on 2/21. Those reports will be completed soon. Alrighty. The CC will consider a new agenda item to invite the City of Arvin to provide additional updates on next steps for projects. So the district is working with the city of Arvin to create space and next steps for projects and future collaborations. The city of Arvin and other agencies are welcome to give updates during the updates portion of the agenda. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down to our completed section.
Eric, can we
Yes.
pause for a second? So Gustavo commented in the chat, I'm not clear what the updates are. Can you expand?
This
Gustavo?
This is
Go ahead.
Jessica. Gustavo, are you referring to the Kern Oil question?
No, I think in general, might be the best, but I think on the, for example, on the with the city of Arvin, you know, to create space for the next project, you know, to follow up the community recommended priorities. What are the updates on that, or are they coming later on, or?
I see. Yes, and they will come later on. The Arvin, so we're going to be talking about some of this today. But yes, that's clear. And maybe we'll make sure that it's clearer in these updates. Sometimes we don't quite have timing. We just know that this is an action for us to continually address. But we will be talking sort of about the city of Arvin next steps during our presentation today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gustavo. All right. Right now we're in our completed section. So the Air District will send a follow-up email to the CSC with Caltrans Kern County flyers from today's presentation, meeting our last meetings, and social media listings for sharing. So the district has emailed out flyers about the upcoming Clean Community Days opportunities. And if you'd like to learn more about that, go ahead and feel free to reach out to Lorena again. And you should have all received an email about some of those opportunities. Next is Kern County representative will share update proposed project maps and Air District to share with CSC in post-meeting follow-up materials. So the district and Kern County have collaborated to create the presentation for today, meetings on updates with projects that are moving forward. Alrighty. The CSC is encouraged to provide feedback to DPR regarding the Sustainable Pest Management Roadmap. So the closing date to make any comments was March 13th, and you all did receive an email for that as well, a couple weeks prior. Okay. The CSC is encouraged to review the Arvin and Lamont membership renewal presentation update and explore ways to recruit new members. So the CSC and the district will continue to work together on recruitment needs and explore the possibility of adding new CSC members. And as we're stating today, that we did accept some applications and we're going to go ahead and review those as well. Alrighty. So the Air District will work with the Water Board and follow up with the CSC member regarding placing air monitors to determine emissions coming from the Malaga water facility. So the district has followed up with the CSC member regarding the Water Board issues concerning water sources. Alrighty. After the October meeting, CSC members are invited to attend optional agenda setting meetings. So as you all are aware of, feel free to voice your opinions and maybe next items or topics that we could talk about at our agenda setting meetings. And you all should receive emails about those meetings following up this CSC meeting. And we have one that moved really far down. Right. So Kern County will share a list of community maintained roads and provide priorities with the CSC. So the district has received a presentation of road projects from Kern County with community maintained roads. The district will work with Kern County on updating the CSC if new roads are maintained or created by the county. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And then I'll go ahead and pass it back to Liz. And thank you all.
Thank you, Eric. I see we have a question from Mario.
Yeah, my question is, all the information that you are giving out, that's the reason why I was saying about that electronic billboard. Not that that could give information for the people. And that'd be a great deal if we could get something like that for Lamont and Arvin, because you could give all that information, what you're giving out on that billboard.
Yeah.
Thank you. And this is just to clarify, because before the meeting started, Mario and I had a discussion here in this open space about some outreach opportunities. And one of the concepts that we wrote down from Mario was the idea of an electronic billboard to release messages about air quality or information pertaining to protecting health of residents in the communities. So thank you, Mario.
So maybe we'll write that down as a consideration, right? So that we can come back and talk about it at a different meeting or a subcommittee meeting when you all talk about outreach and engagement. Thank you, Jessica, for clarification, Mario for bringing that up and making that connection. I think, as you already know, the implementation of AB 617 relies heavily on community input that you all are sharing at these meetings. And it relies on the partnership that you all have with each other, with all the organizations that are here today, and the partnership that you all have established and are continuing to cultivate with the Air District. I think in Arvin, Lamont area, we're lucky to have many community leaders who have stepped in to ensure the effective implementation of AB 617. Today is a beautiful demonstration of the leadership that CSC is cultivating in partnership with the Air District, with all of you, and with OICA today as part of the presentation that we're about to listen to. So during this next presentation, we're going to have the opportunity to learn about the Fresca project. As you hear about the presentation, we do ask that you raise your hand. We're hoping to have a lot of engagement. We're going to track folks who are raising their hand. You could always also put your comments or your questions in the chat and we'll call on you. If you absolutely need to ask the question right away because you need some clarification before the presentation moves forward, we'll definitely call on you then. But we're hoping to be able to go through some of the major content and then answer some questions. So at this time, I'm going to pass it to CSC and the OICA team to walk us through this presentation. You all should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, thank you. I think there was a video that we shared. I'm not sure if whoever the host is can play the recruitment video, and then maybe we can do like an intro to the project after we watch that short video.
Wonderful. Eric, do you have that video queued up or would you want to send it to us?
Yeah, I can go ahead and share that for you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Alrighty, can you all see the full screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And then are you sharing your sound?
Oh, that
Eric?
is correct. Yes, let me go ahead. All right, should be good to go. Can you all hear that?
No.
Okay.
Under view options at the top, I think.
Yeah.
Or not view options, but there's like kind of sharing options.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is share sound.
Okay, give me 1 second.
If you want to stop sharing, Eric,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you go to share again, there'll be on the bottom of what you're selecting to share, it'll say share sound.
Yep.
Oh, got it. Yep, got it.
Perfect.
All righty. Thank you so much, team. Can you all hear that? Perfect.
Mi nombre es Rubén Rodríguez. Vivo en la comunidad de Coalinga, California. Cuando era dueño de una traila, también era dueño del cooler de mi casa. En los días que la temperatura llegaba a 100 grados, el cooler era la única forma de mantenernos frescos. Dejaba el cooler prendido por días y a veces hasta semanas, por tan caliente que se ponía. Recuerdo el día donde el cielo se puso anaranjado por las lumbradas forestales. Durante esa semana no apagamos el cooler aunque se miraba el humo adentro de la casa. No había nada que se podía hacer para mantenernos frescos y respirar aire limpio. Yo recuerdo ese día. No sé si ustedes también lo recuerdan. Un equipo de científicos y organizadores de la comunidad están diseñando e instalando unos filtros que se colocan afuera de estos coolers. Queremos saber si al usar estos filtros, la calidad del aire interior se mejora cuando hay contaminación o humo en el aire. Estamos buscando residentes que tengan coolers, que estén localizados al lado de la casa y vivan en los condados de Kings, Fresno y Kern. También estamos interesados en personas que trabajen al aire libre. Estamos interesados en trabajar con ustedes y queremos explicarles por qué este proyecto es importante. Los cerros y montañas alrededor del Valle de San Joaquín atrapan la contaminación que viene del humo de los incendios forestales del norte y del sur de California, y también atrapan contaminación que viene de otras fuentes, incluyendo la carretera 5 y 99, agricultura y otros procesos industriales. Mantenerse fresco durante las temporadas de los incendios forestales es peligroso cuando no hay sistema que proteja la salud de la contaminación. Los niños y personas con problemas de corazón y de pulmón, mayores de 65 años o mujeres embarazadas pueden tener enfermedades graves al respirar el humo que viene de los incendios. Las organizaciones comunitarias y el estudio Fresca está ayudando a solucionar estos problemas. Únase al proyecto.
Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that video. So that gives an overview of, what the project is and why it's important. And I think the two biggest reasons as to why we're focusing on, both houses with swamp coolers and also looking to work with workers who are exposed to the outdoors, especially women, is because swamp coolers have been found to concentrate pollution from the outdoors inside at a much higher level. And in this study, we're going to be providing filters and for both the outside of the cooler and in the home. So there's going to be a filter in the home that's going to be cleaning up the air. And we're also going to be doing a health study for women that spend a lot of time outside, because recent studies have shown that among a lot of other health issues, women exposed to wildfire smoke have a higher degree of developing breast cancer and other sicknesses. So that's very unfortunate. And part of the reason we're working in farm worker communities is because we spend a lot of time outside and we're very exposed, and those swamp coolers concentrate that in the homes. I see Lily here from OEHA, and was wondering if you would like to introduce yourself and also speak a little bit about the focus of the study.
Actually, my colleague Cheryl is also here, and she is more familiar, I believe, with the biomonitoring component. I am a toxicologist, and so just very much overall, the kind of pathway by which people are exposed definitely is a concern, because if there is, a route, so to speak, such as breathing, which we all do, then there's cause for concern. So, I mean, very generally, the biomonitoring questions, I'm not equipped to handle, because that is not where I focus, but any other kind of general questions, I'd be happy to try to address.
Thank you, Lily. Sorry, I missed Cheryl in my quick scan of the participants. Cheryl?
No problem at all. And we also have another collaborator here, Ariane Villegas from Public Health Institute. And, as you know, really helped to start this study that the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment, or OEHA, has now added to through a biomonitoring component to further assess participants' exposures to air pollution. And as Cesar said, how filtration added to the evaporative coolers or swamp coolers can reduce those exposures, both during normal times and also during wildfire events. So yeah, maybe I'll turn it over to Ariane to say a little bit more about the arc of the study.
Yeah, thank you, Cheryl. And I'll just introduce myself. I'm Ariane Villegas. I'm a research associate at the Public Health Institute. And as Cheryl mentioned, this is actually, the study has been going on now for its second year. So just wanted to say, we've done the trial and pilot work for that first year, installed filters in communities, and got to do a bit of testing. And so this year we'll be recruiting more people in similar communities focused on farm worker women, and with this additional component of biomonitoring or health assessments for farm worker women. But yeah, very excited, and I think we'll be taking questions, and I see a hand up, so I'll cut my time short.
Mario, you're on mute, but feel free to go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I went to a meeting over there in Arvin, seeing what was going on, and I told them that they had to test different pads. There's different pads for the coolers, because I seen the way they did it. It's not a good look, but they got different pads. They got cardboard pads, they got grass pads, they got foam pads. You might have to test something like that. Maybe you get a better idea of what you could use. Maybe I'll give you an idea,
Yeah, thank you, Mario. I definitely agree. It's not the prettiest project for sure, but I think there are new filters that are being implemented. And the reason that we're using those filters is because they are some of the of the highest quality that catch the smallest particulates. So I think that's part of the reason that we were using those at that time. But I do know that we have revisited what filters are going to be used. I'm not sure how they look, but I do know that there is monetary recompensa. I'm sorry, I'm thinking in Spanish, but there's an incentive for people to participate in both the Fresca study and also the biomonitoring as well.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is they already got pads to put inside the coolers.
You're talking about like the sacates.
They got sacates, they got cardboard, they got foam pads.
Mm-hmm.
They got different pads that you could test to see if they work. What the idea, what you got.
Understood. Yeah, I think that is part of what the people that are conducting the study, they already have that in mind. I know that was something that I mentioned as well, but I think they are aware of the different types of paddings that are inside and how that can affect the air quality. Tim?
Sorry, I was just going to jump in because, yeah, Mario, I think you make a good point. We're testing the filters on the outside of the swamp cooler, mainly because how evaporative coolers work, right? They need water. And so we can't get anything inside the cooler that is going to stay dry enough that it's going to work effectively. So we're testing it on the outside. But that's also the reason why this year we're also giving people purifiers in their home. So you're going to have both. You're going to have a filter on your swamp cooler, and you're going to have a purifier inside your home. So it'll filter out air, anything that may have not been caught by the filters on the outside.
Hi, I had a question regarding the monitoring of the quality of the air. Do you guys actually, for the study, will you be providing monitors for inside the home, because I remember a few years back, I installed several in my house. Even me with having air conditioning at my home, the monitors would go off when the bad air days for when the wildfires were going on and the sky was orange. So it doesn't matter if like, because we opened the door to come outside and in, and it lets the air in, so it would bring it in the monitors in my living room and in the hallway where my main AC is located, it would detect that. So is it just for swamp coolers, or is it also for people that have ACs at home?
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question. This study is focused specifically on swamp coolers.
But we will be providing a monitor inside the home. So we'll be doing in-home measurements. Purple Air is the one that we're using, if you're familiar with those. So those will be inside the homes. And then for the different communities, we'll have a couple out in specific spots, just to get a general sense of what the outside air is.
Any other questions for the team? Go ahead, Janet.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I had a question about that monitor that you just mentioned that was going to be placed out in the community. I guess to get ambient air quality levels. Is that, since it's like a monitor that's going to be placed out in the community to get like, I guess like I said, ambient levels, is that monitor going to be added to the Air District's website where we can get those monitor readings? And if not, how is that going to be accessible to the community?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I do want to make it, I realize I haven't mentioned this, but this is a project that's separate from the AB 617 process. So this is something that CCJN, Tracking California, OEHA, and several partners are going to be doing, tracking working with farm working communities in South Kern. So this isn't something that the Air District is doing. This is something that we're doing a part of. It's just we're doing it in the Arvin and Lamont community, and that's why we wanted to mention it on the CSC here. Lily?
I hope that this will be a little bit helpful context, just trying to think about from the standpoint of exposure. A lot of the questions that I hear echoed in community health concerns are like largely asthma and cancer, the respiratory issues as well. And so that really does kind of beg the question of what triggers these health effects, right? And so part of answering that question is, what are we exposed to? So I feel that while Cesar, you just said like this is part of a bigger study. It's not just in Arvin Lamont. This seeks to answer some of those questions about agricultural workers who work outside, who are also often inflicted with breast cancer, as I've read about this study. I don't know a whole lot about it, but what I do understand about it is like this is part of addressing a different question, and it does overlap in Arvin Lamont. And so that I think that helps maybe explain why it's being presented here, because it doesn't only just benefit Arvin Lamont if there's any desire to participate in it, but maybe it doesn't actually fit well with like the regulatory air monitoring, because those are monitoring like PM 2.5 and ozone, and whereas this Fresca study, as I understand it, is looking at some volatile organic compounds. And so there's different kind of exposure questions, and it's really starting to figure out what are people exposed to that might cause health outcomes, and it's really trying to draw those kind of connections. So I think that's why maybe sometimes it seems like we need more data comes across like, why do you need more data? It's really like, who is affected where, what are people exposed to in their particular location? And I think that maybe helps understand like why there are so many different studies going on.
Thank you, Lily, for providing that clarification. And I think it's a reminder to all of the CSC members and all the public members that are here in tonight's meeting that these meetings provide an open space to have presentations from other partners and agencies that are doing work that impacts the community members that live within the boundary. So thank you for that. Cheryl, I see you have your hand up, and I also have a question from Sandra in the chat. I don't know, Cheryl, if maybe you can address this as well. Sandra's asking if the program also includes folks in the city of Bakersfield or just folks in the county.
I was going to just first quickly add to what Lily was saying about OEHA's involvement in the biomonitoring portion of Fresca Mujeres was very much intended that our biomonitoring team is focusing on biomonitoring, which is a way of measuring the chemicals, people's chemical exposures directly through often blood or urine samples. And this study will be measuring chemicals that people may be exposed to through air pollution, through urine samples. And OEHA's biomonitoring team is focusing on, communities overburdened with air pollution, particularly AB 617 communities. So that's one of the tie-ins with the CSC's work here, and just really wanting to get the word out to anyone who may be interested in participating as we've just started recruitment, and answer any, questions you may have about what's involved and why we're doing this study. Bakersfield, Cesar, I don't know if you might want to speak to whether that would be outside the bounds geographically at this point.
Yeah, I know it's Southern Kern, so I'm not too sure how far into Bakersfield, but there are places in between Arvin and Lamont that are technically Bakersfield. So if you live, close to those communities or in South Kern and someone that has a swamp cooler, preferably a side-mounted one, just because it's easier for us to access, then we would love to be in contact with those people if they'd like to be a part of the study.
So Cesar, a common practice for us, as you already know, is to provide some action items so the community remembers to do some of these things, and so everybody else remembers. So should we place this as an action item, like maybe you'll provide more clarification, or do you want just, if folks know someone, to just reach out to you directly?
Yeah, I mean, we can do both. I think it'd be good if we can make an action item for clarification in case anyone's interested. And I can also make my contact info available for anyone that would like to, maybe have a one-on-one discussion with me or contact me directly about this.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And we have a question also from the public. Do you all have data, or do you know if someone got breast cancer from the smoke and not the pesticides when they were working in ag? I don't know if you have that data available, if you could answer that.
So I'll just say quickly, when it comes to the biomonitoring data, one limitation is that it can identify levels of chemicals or their metabolites in people's body fluids, but not the source of those chemicals. And so, the biomonitoring data wouldn't be able to answer that question. Lily, you may want to add to that.
I hope this comes across as more helpful than like more open question, but there are many possible causes of health effects. So it's true, we won't know if it was smoke or pesticides that caused a health outcome. I think that really comes with better understanding of where people spend most of their time, what is a most likely cause. And so it is a balancing act of, prioritizing what what the highest amount, volume, content of something might be that is most known, and working on remediating that, mitigating that, and then hopefully affecting positive change in public health. And that's really where I see like this necessity of all working together. When we monitor something and learn, hey, there's a lot of this, and this thing causes that, then let's work to reduce this so that we can also reduce that.
Thank you both for providing some context for those answers. I'm not seeing any more questions. I'm not sure if the team has more to add, Cesar, on this item.
No, nothing more. I can put my contact info in the chat and then we can move on, just so we don't take any more time up for the agenda. Thank you very much for making space.
Thank you. Wonderful. So we'll be sure to follow up with the team, and if the community continues to have any questions for clarification, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of spaces for you all to ask those questions and to help with recruitment and encourage folks to participate if they qualify to be part of the study. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and transition to our next agenda item. Liz?
Yes, thank you. So we'll move on to the road paving and sidewalk discussion. So at the agenda setting meeting and at our meeting last month, CSC members expressed the desire to streamline the road paving and sidewalk installation discussion and have the presenters come prepared with more clear and actionable next steps. We're very grateful for all of the CSC members who have been engaging in this process, where you all got to be in person even to identify those priority locations directly on the map. So the CSC has also made it clear that there is a strong sense of urgency around so many of these projects, and especially with some of them being so close to sensitive sites like schools. So as the Air District will explain tonight, this presentation will be focusing on those priority projects that have been identified by the CSC and are most ready to move forward with your final input. And so with that, I think we'll pass it to Jess from the Air District.
Yes, thank you, Liz, and thank you all for that wonderful discussion. I want to thank Awiha for being here and for Cesar for leading what was, again, I think we heard from a lot of different voices, and that's what we really want these meetings to be about. That totally goes for this presentation as well. So please, I'll stop every couple of slides to take some thoughts and to get feedback. Before I start, I do see a question, Mario. Is it kind of clarifying before I jump into the presentation?
No, I just want to ask you, how could I get another computer? Because my computer is just glitching.
Yes, I think Eric connected with you. We are going to hope to connect with you and the 2 other folks in the community, hopefully next week at the latest, to update or even supply a new computer. We do believe, as Eric put in the action items, that it's the video is an update thing, and we need to update it. And unfortunately, that means our IT department has to do it. So we might have to physically work on the computer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thanks. And that goes for anyone who has a district computer. I know that Eric touched base briefly, but we will connect with you soon. So thank you, Mario. I am going to share my screen, and as I do, I want you to know, for those that have already reviewed the presentation, many of you got it ahead of time. If you get hard copies ahead of time, that many of the pictures, almost every picture in here, was either a picture of an activity you participated in or a direct screenshot from a presentation that community groups put together. So I just want to ahead of time thank all of the community members that really collaborated on this presentation. So just as a way of a brief reminder, and as was kind of Liz mentioned, how we got to where we did today is in your SERP, you all prioritized allocating a pretty good section of the SERP funding to sidewalk and road paving improvements. citing mostly that there are places that not only are unsafe to walk, meaning then folks have to drive, and of course that contributes to air pollution, but there might even be a lot of dust or other road emissions issues because of that. And so folks are really interested in making sure that we had funding to provide the folks that do that work. So either the county, if you're in the Lamont area, or the city, if you're in Arvin, to support this work. So far in October, for those that were around, I know some of you are new, the CSC, we had a variety of measures, as you know, that we adopted in your SERP. And you all prioritized measures, and this measure rose as the highest. Along, of course, we've talked about vegetative barriers, and we'll provide an update at the end of the meeting on that. In December, we got feedback from you all. I will share a picture on the priority locations you felt like needed to be addressed by this measure, as well as the vegetative barriers measure. So that's the planting trees measure for those that are unfamiliar. So we're not going to talk about that today. In today's meeting, we're going to talk about just the sidewalks and road paving. So the past two meetings including today, the Kern County and City of Arvin folks have presented responses to the CSC suggestions, mostly because, of course, as you know, we need to know how much this would cost so that the CSC is informed when helping support whether we move forward with those different projects. So today, based on Kern County just being bigger and having the ability to get that estimate of what the projects would cost just faster, we're going to sort of separate into a couple different meetings. Today, we're just talking about the Kern County projects. As you know, if you were involved in the last few meetings, and Christina's been really open with all of us, is that her team, that's with the City of Arvin, is a little bit smaller. So we will, at a future meeting, talk about the Arvin estimates and focus today on just the Lamont projects that have already been presented to you. So nothing today is new. It's just a summary of everything that we've heard. So this here on the left is that map for those of you that were at our in-person meeting that we provided, that was an outline of where folks thought that road paving or sidewalk installation projects needed to occur. So all of the yellow dots on the sidewalks or streets that you see are where folks felt like this measure should happen. And here on the right, and you'll see this on the next 3 slides, the Center on Race, Poverty, and the Environment, CRPE, and you have Gustavo Aguirre on here as the representative on the CSC, went around and had over 135 signatures from folks within the community supporting some of what I'll show you on the following slides. And so we're just so grateful for all that work, because we know that this community isn't just the folks that can attend these meetings tonight, but also the folks that live and breathe. And I just want to thank you as I show the next couple of slides. So what we did from there, as I just mentioned, is this county, and I will provide this on a couple of slides here, came back and said, these are and I'll show you a 4th one, but there were 4 areas that received a lot of support, and they got us an estimate of what that would cost. The handwriting here, this is the community input that we received, and just sort of a summary of where folks were reaching out to the community members to get some of these signatures. And so I'll share this on another slide, but I just wanted to share with you that these come from a great presentation we got from Gustavo and his team ahead of last month's meeting. This is the second part of it. This is the Mountain View Road area, and you can see how it reflects the dots that were also placed during that in-person meeting. So you're starting to see, hopefully, that we're building upon all of the feedback that we've had over the past few months to really come to you all with the next steps. So these are the 4 projects that were proposed. The first is the Panama Road project, which is outlined here in yellow. The second is the Carnation Avenue area. So that would be this whole area that's right here. And these are the costs that are associated. The third is Mountain View Road. As you noticed, all of these are the ones that had all of the dots from community members and the support from that the signature page. And the fifth is this sort of section down here, the San Emilio area. But again, it's kind of a variety of different streets in the area. So I'm just going to pause really quickly. So folks, hopefully this is actually a review of what's been presented. For those that want a refresher, maybe Eric, I'll ask you if you can drop in the chat the presentation that Yolanda from the county gave 2 meetings ago, because it has more details on like actually like what goes into these estimates, why folks, you know, what the county needs to think about when they do this work, and just kind of as a reminder for folks. So, oh, I think I hear someone. I can pause. Oh, I don't know if that was just someone saying yes. Maybe that was Eric. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So just kind of going back. Oh, Gustavo, do you want me to pause before I summarize? I can definitely go back. I said I would pause and I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think just, so I think all those 4 areas are the areas that we walked, and just take credit to others, Comité Progreso de Lamont, which are also part of, you know, of the CSC, and CCJN, Cesar and his co-workers were working with us, the neighborhoods, just to give credits to them. But I think I just want to mention the another piece that I think Yolanda presented that is not, that we didn't include it here, is I believe is more on Wheat Patch, Buena Vista. But my understanding is that's already funding secure from the county. So that's the reason that, you know, we, the community, didn't include that, because that's already, our understanding is already, you know, funded. So these other are the areas that we work in the families, you know, most of the signatures we got, you know, represent each signature a family, most of them. So, and I think you're right, Jessica. So this reflects, is beyond just the CSCs, you know, it's also the community support.
Thank you, Gustavo, and definitely thank you to Comité Progreso de Lamont and CCEJN and others. I appreciate all of that work. I know you all do. And I'll just acknowledge, I'm going to share a slide and a couple of slides that part of that discussion was also Comanche, but there's just some things to consider. So I'm going to share that slide in 2 slides. So for those of you that are sitting there thinking, well, what about Comanche, which really hits both the county and the city? I'm going to share that in just 2 slides, but I'm going to pause with this sort of and just kind of summarize everything I just said, and then just see if there's feedback from there first, if that's okay with everyone. So what we have here is, like I mentioned, there's 12 million in road paving and sidewalks. And we know it's going to be different because Comanche is sort of a shared project, and so I'll get to that in a second, but about half of it going toward the Lamont area and half of it going toward the city of Arvin is what we estimated and what folks were thinking when we developed the SERP. And so the projects that we're putting forth today is under that 6 million that was put forth for considering for the Kern County Lamont area. And so, like I said, I'll just put right here, we definitely will continue to coordinate on the Comanche sidewalks by Bear Mountain Elementary School. I've even heard very recently about the rain and folks walking to school and kids not being able to even walk on the shoulder. So we all know that it's a concern, and I want you to know that it's our priority to keep moving forward on that. But that's just a different conversation because it's a combination, and we're going to talk about the Arvin projects in an upcoming meeting. I will just move forward just really briefly to share with you what I mean by that. Here are those fabulous pictures that Gustavo and the teams from all the different organizations and community members took related to exactly what I just mentioned. So the no sidewalk along Comanche. Obviously, there's a school that folks walk to. People live south of that area, so they walk up that school. That's the most direct route to get to the school. And like I said, I've spoken directly with residents very recently about this. So I just wanted to let you know we hear your support and we look forward to talking about it. I'll even acknowledge here that if you recall, We got an estimate from the Lamont or the Kern County Public Works folks. Yolanda was fabulous, got us an estimate, and just these are some of the considerations. So we wanted to let you know, we see that it is ranked one of your highest priorities. We know it hits both the Arvin community and of course, folks that use that area. We definitely also know that there needs to be coordination. So it's just going to be a little bit more of a discussion down the line. And we just wanted to be transparent about where we were with that process before we moved forward. That said, here's the timeline and the next steps. Maybe before I go to next steps, Gustavo, I see your hand.
Yeah, just about Comanche, talking with both Arvin and Lamont residents, I think both agree, and especially Arvin residents agree that Comanche is one of their priorities, and we didn't include that in the Lamont area, you know, or the part that Yolanda presented, because it will benefit more directly to the residents of Arvin, but they are in support of it, and I think both the city and the county express willingness, you know, the county expressed willingness to take the lead there. But I think the idea from residents is maybe about 6 million for Lamont, and Comanche being part of the other 6 million for Arvin, because he's, you know, he's going to benefit the community of Arvin. You're trying to be fair in terms of the funding, but it have from all the residents and CSCs from both communities that we participate with, there is full support for Comanche. Just wanted to mention that, you know.
Excellent. I appreciate that. And Gustavo, we share the same thought on the, you know, this being really an Arvin, you know, obviously it is the folks that live in Arvin. For those that kind of want to see the Comanche, it is along the boundary of Arvin. So I agree, kind of the fairness of that breakup makes sense. And so what we are thinking today, if it's okay with folks, is there is a process here. So we actually are working in parallel, meaning we're not going to wait. We haven't been waiting just to get final support, because there's a process to move forward with some of the more bureaucratic, for lack of a better term, stuff with the California Air Resources Board. It's just a process we all have to go through to submit a plan to them to get approved. So we already submitted that. We've already submitted that. We are actually working with them on a variety of other related projects in other communities. And so we'll just continue to work with them based on what we hear today. Today, we are looking for, based on what Gustavo just said, I don't want to speak for everyone on this call, but we have heard a lot of support for the 4 projects we just mentioned. If we can get support today, that will allow us to go and start the process, at least with the county and with CARB, to move forward on these projects. And in the coming months, finalize, pretty much do the exact same thing. We'll almost give the exact same presentation, but it will be for the Arvin streets and do the same process. So that will allow us this summer to enter into contracts to work on these projects. And really, for those of you that are like champing at the bit to hit on the other, we have so many other projects we are really eager to talk about, but we're going to be so excited to say, hey, we're moving forward on the #1 priority, which I would argue we haven't done quite this way in other communities. So we just, we're looking forward to your support, and definitely looking forward if there's any questions or concerns. And I wonder, Amy or Dr. Ramos or Cesar or Bianca, I was thinking the best way to do this was to hear if there's any concern before we move forward. And if there's no objections, then we can just kind of consider that consensus if that works for the group. I do see a hand though.
I was going to say, we have a hand from Mario, and then if there's any oppositions or questions before you want to move to consensus, now would be the time to ask. So any clarifications? Mario, go ahead.
Yeah. This computer, crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The thing is, are they gonna pay the roads how they did it like 2 years ago here in Lamont?
I don't know if Yolanda, can you just briefly, I know verbally, because we don't have your slides pulled up. I think Yolanda's on here. It's hard for me to see.
Yeah, because it
Are
didn't.
Can you just briefly explain? So these are to like install sidewalks and to put shoulders. Can you kind of explain what these projects would do just in general?
Yes, this is strictly a sidewalk project. There's no paved roads being proposed as part of the 4 proposals. It'll just be to fill in the sidewalk gaps where none currently exist. And so there'll be a curb and a gutter where they don't exist and then tie into the road. And it's usually only about 2 feet.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. And thank you, Yolanda, that helps.
Any other clarification questions?
So if there are no other questions, and if there are, feel free to jump in right now. But I think we can see if there's consensus to move forward with these 4 proposals and projects. So we'll do that by first asking if anyone is opposed to moving forward. So if you are opposed, maybe raise your hand or speak up right now. Okay. So it sounds like we do have consensus for moving forward, which is really exciting. And again, keep all these other suggestions coming because we're going to get to those too. But yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Jess, to see if there's anything you wanted to wrap up there.
Thank you all. I just want to once again thank everyone that was involved in not only the work in these meetings, but the work ahead of these meetings and in between these meetings and with other residents. I think we are looking forward to, and we're asking our co-hosts and our co-leads in Cesar and Bianca to hold us accountable to making presentations like this that are from the community's concerns. And so I'm really grateful. We will update you on next steps for Arvin and always update you on just progress moving forward. And with that, I'll thank you and pass it back to Liz.
Thank you. And looks like we have caught up with our agenda. So we can move on to our standing updates. So tonight we have 2 main updates. First, we'll start with the air monitoring status report and then open it up for questions and discussion. And then we'll have an update from DPR, have questions and discussion, and then we'll have an open space for any other CSC members to share updates. So happy to pass it to Brad, I believe.
Hi, good evening. Again, my name is Brad Dawson. I am the supervisor over our community-based air monitoring programs that encapsulates the Arvin community as well as Shafter, Fresno, and the Stockton communities. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick and kind of give a update of where we are at and where we're planning on moving forward and seeing if we can get some, maybe some people in the community can actually help us out a little bit. So let me just share my screen real quick and I'll do the Zoom. Does everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Has that been pushed over yet? Okay, great. For everyone that's new or unfamiliar, this is our Arvin Lamont community air monitoring page. This gets updated hourly with the current air monitors that we have in the community. So we have PM 2.5 monitors at Bear Mountain Elementary School, at El Camino Real Elementary School, Mountain View and Weed Patch Sunset Middle School. And at Mountain View Middle School in Lamont, we actually have a multi-pollutant monitor there that's doing a little bit more than just PM 2.5. It is doing BTEX for the refinery nearby, H2S and SO2 gases. And then when you're at this page, you can always select on one of these and you can get in real time what those monitors are seeing. So you can see today, this is what your air quality was at this site for PM 2.5. So obviously we have some storms, we have some weather going around. It's actually mixing the air quite a bit, which is pushing out all the dirty air and actually giving us some clean air for the last couple of days. So that's what you're seeing right here. And just to go back, we also have this tab right here on my screen, the status of our community air monitoring implementation. You can get this in English or Spanish. And for this, I'm just going to broadcast my screen so that way we can all see both languages. So that way you guys can follow along if you're in English or Spanish. Currently in our this is a map of where we are trying to get a monitor at throughout the whole AB 617 Arvin Lamont area. We have deployed monitors in areas A for Mountain View. We do have one in D/C. It's like right on the borderline, right there for that middle school PM 2.5 monitor. And then we also have a monitor in H and I for the El Camino Real and Bear Mountain Elementary School as well. Currently, the monitor for area B and G, those have been delivered. We do have in our possession the trailer, but we are still trying to look for a location to deploy that at. We have reached out to several folk over with Kern High School District, as well as the ag department at Arvin High School. We have yet to really hear any physical or a solid yes or no, or even a participation really. We out calling and sending multiple emails. We haven't really been able to get too much traction at Arvin High School, which was somewhere where the community really wanted that monitor at. We are reaching out to other locations kind of a little bit south of that area. Another location that was mentioned was Grimway Academy. I'm sorry, I was lost for words right there. We reached out to them. They were not interested in hosting us, unfortunately. And also their location it was a really tight location. We probably wouldn't have a lot of space for us to deploy the trailer there too. We are looking at some other locations though, but if anyone also has a suggestion or a location that they may be able to introduce us to or host, that would be fantastic. I'm going to kind of go through the rest of the sites too. In area F right here, right at DeGiorgio and Comanche, we did reach out to a couple locations over there. However, they were unable to host us for that real-time PM 2.5 monitor right there. So we are still looking for that area. There, I think we heard some traction that there may be some residences in the housing area right there at that intersection that may be able to host us, but we're still trying to figure out if there's anyone there that can. Kind of don't want to put it on top of a gas station or anything like that. We don't really want to put our monitors at a regulated source, but to try to get a monitor in that area, we're really kind of limited because there's so much ag out there as well. In that section B again, just to reiterate with the trailer for Arvin High, I believe that's at Alicante Elementary and Lamont. We do have the trailer. However, we are still getting supplies in. We're still building it. We're still calibrating the instruments. And once we are fully up and running and we have those instruments running and calibrated, we'll be working to deploy that as soon as we get the everything in. Things are kind of coming in slow. We're still seeing in the industry side of things a slowness of parts coming in. So some of those things we have a site to go to, but we just are still waiting for those last bits of equipment to come in so the whole thing can work correctly. And with that, I think I see a couple of hands raised, but I can't see everyone.
Giovanni, go ahead.
Yes, for the location, there's a location right in front of Arvin High School. That's where they're building the Bakersfield College Arvin Center. I think if it works, that can be a good location. since they're only building the cottage in around 10 acres, and there's like around 30 acres right there. So maybe you
So
could
they,
put it in the opposite side of where they're building the cottage.
so that site is under development at this point,
Yeah,
or?
it's under development, but the the site is like 30 acres, and the college is only going to be in 10 acres. So
Okay.
there's 20 acres, around 20 acres right there where possibly you can put the trailer.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for giving me that information. I was unaware of that.
Yeah,
And I'm guessing,
and if,
is that part of the community college network in Kern County down there?
yes, if you need help connecting with someone from the Kern Community College District, reach out to me and I can connect you with them.
Well, thank you very much, Giovanni. I probably will. And I think I actually used to work with someone that now works over there. So it's really pleasant that you told me that. And I have like another couple breadcrumbs to run after. So thank you very much. And I will be following up with you too. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I thought I saw another hand pop up, but maybe I answered it already. Oh, there it comes. Is that Diana?
Sí, tenía una pregunta ahorita que hizo no sé si es una confusión o algo. Ahorita que presentó mencionó sobre lo del monitor que está en la refinería. Nada más quería saber, ¿esto lo van a hacer parte de las 617?
My Spanish is incredibly horrible, so
Oh.
I think I'm going to be waiting for a translation to come through at one point.
Brad, you have to be in this English channel on translation at the bottom, but I can answer in the meantime. So a couple things, and I'm not sure, maybe I'll answer two different things because I don't know exactly which part of what Brad's update you're referring. There is a monitor that is just outside of the refinery for the community. That is on our website, and it did not come out of the AB 617. So it's sort of an extra monitor for the community, and it is on our website for you to take a look at.
Okay.
I just swapped over to the English only channel, so.
Thank you, Brad.
I'm not sure if Jess answered all of that for me graciously.
Yes, and so that would be, just to finish, that would be the Mountain View Middle School monitor. That is the community monitor.
Yes, and actually we do have another piece of equipment to add to that for the community. I forgot to mention it. We do have a black carbon analyzer. We are actually awaiting some a bereavement in some of the wet weather that we have been seeing, so we can actually install a new black carbon monitor there. And once we have that, we will be relaying that back to the community that monitor is up and reporting. But we do have the monitor. We just need to get some sunlight so we can actually we actually have to drill holes in the monitor. So we're going to have to open it up and then reseal it and then install it. So but yeah, we do have some more add-ons for that site coming soon.
Thank you. So we have a couple hands up, but first there's a question in the chat. What is needed for a host site?
Many different things, and it almost has to be a perfect storm scenario, no pun intended, to our weather. You do want to make sure that we don't put it against anything that would restrict airflow. So you can't put it against the existing building. You really want to get ambient airflow around the monitor. And then for most of the sites, for our PM 2.5 monitors, such as F over at DeGiorgio and Comanche, it's just a regular power outlet. And we definitely can work with landowners. We do have contracts with them where we will repay back rent, as well as estimated electrical costs. These things don't have like a power meter that you can be like, know exactly how much it pulls, but we will estimate that and incorporate that into a lease agreement. So that way we are repaying more than what we ever take from a person or a facility or a building.
Thank you. Tim?
I had regarding the trailer monitor. That's the one that you wanted for Arvin High and also by near their ag department, right?
Yeah, it's actually a really large enclosed trailer. That one actually would require usually some type of extensive power consumption. Usually a 220 outlet would have to be required for that site. But yes, sorry.
Okay. When I originally suggested the ag department is because it's near the bus barn of the high school, and secondary, that property does not have ownership. It's not owned by the high school. It's neither owned by the people that are at the farm. They're the carekeepers of the farm. The family who owned the farm moved to Oklahoma and they've all passed away. They left it in their living will that Arvin High and the ag department are the carekeepers of the school, but it's owned by no one because they had a similar situation where Arvin High a few years ago built bungalows on there and for classes when they were not allowed to. And it started a whole legal question. It was like, well, the living will says that you can't build or add any existing structures unless approved by the living family who left it in the will, stating that for the use of the ag department. So the school had to move them after they were done remodeling certain departments of the school. They had to remove those bungalows. They couldn't leave them permanently there because it violates the living will of the family who left the farm to the school. And that's what I originally suggested, because the only people that know this information are former ag students of Arvin High, that the school farm does not really belong to the school. It belongs to the ag department, but they're not really the owner. They're just the carekeepers of it. And there is a farm and there's a house right on Comanche that is where the carekeeper of the farm lives, which gets paid by the ag department. So that's why I suggested that, but I'm not sure why the ag department hasn't reached out because from my knowledge, the Arvin FFA and ag department of Arvin High is one of the struggling ag departments in the whole county. So they would favor this for money incentives to expand their department. So I'm not sure why they're not answering your emails.
Yeah, we reached out to some of the his name is not on the top of my head right now, but the lead director teacher of the ag department. A couple of times we've caught him on the phone, and a couple of times we got his email address, and we've been back and forth, but never got any traction. Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think being able to go out there and also support the ag school there with even extra funding, because it is a lease agreement, would probably be beneficial for all parties. But now that you told me that there is maybe a house nearby, that maybe we can just do a cold call and knock on a door and just see if anyone will answer and maybe talk in person, which would be probably our next step to try to move that site forward even. So we're all, yeah, we'll be doing everything and all to try to get these monitors out as soon as we can. So thank you very much for that update and the backstory.
Definitely an interesting situation. That was really helpful. Thank you. Mario, your hand has been up and down. I just want to make sure that you have a chance.
No, it's because I would like to speak out on this, but it's like that you could do it, but you cannot do it, but you could do it, but you cannot do it for certain reason, because no electricity or whatever. Because I got a location that I want you guys to put this trailer, but I'm hesitating to even mention it because it looks like it's an up and down thing if you could put the trailer there or not. I mean, the thing is to fix up the problem, not, it's like a up and down kind of situation. That's why I had my hand up and I had my hand down. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why I didn't even want to speak about it, because I've been speaking about it for the past year and I didn't see no result, and now I'm hesitating. And the reason is because I'm seeing that that you guys could do it because you mentioned that you could do it, but then you have excuses saying, oh, we don't got electricity, we don't got this, we can't do it. That's my problem. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. And this is Jessica. I will say we are open to everything. And I think that's why we're so eager to say we can do it, but we can't force people to let us on their property to plug in, especially the big trailer. And so we can only do so much as that folks let us do. So we're really eager and we're so grateful for the feedback today about other options. This took time in every other community as well, but we were able to find a solution, and we're really, we are committed and very hopeful that we will find a solution here. We don't want to just place it anywhere. We want to place it where you all wanted to monitor all those pollutants, which is why we're focusing on the area we are. So again, we're just grateful for folks that can help us get it there, help us find a place that we can, it's not just a plug, it is a big electrical, I mean, it's a trailer that has many, many different pieces of electrical equipment, and it literally is a trailer that you would like pull behind a truck. So it's just a little bigger than a typical plug that we would normally use. And so we appreciate all the support we've heard so far today, but totally understand the frustration. It's definitely a process, but we think we've made some progress in a lot of ways with some of our smaller pieces. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for, I'm glad I called on you because that perspective is important. And I do hope that you keep speaking up and reminding us about that. Are there any other questions, comments, suggestions for Brad?
And again, as soon as we get more information or another instrument gets online in between our meetings, we usually send out some type of email notification to the community, so that way you are informed that this page will be changed as well and updated with more information that you can see live.
Well, if there are no other questions, thank you so much, Brad and the Air District team. I think we can move to our next update, which is from DPR. I'm not sure who is doing that. Okay.
Hi, my name is Aniela Brandt, and I'll provide the update today for DPR. So good evening, everyone. So I have 3 updates for everyone. Celia Pazos has come aboard as DPR's new Assistant Director of Environmental Justice and Equity. She is starting to familiarize herself with all of our AB 617 communities. The second update I have is concerning the 1,3-dichloropropane or 1,3-D regulation. That process is still ongoing as we're processing the public comments that we've received. As we get more details about next events and milestones, such as other comment periods or other developments, I'll pass those along to Arvin, Lamont, your community, and I'll also pass them along to the Air District. Finally, my next update is on statewide notification. DPR has collected public input during webinars and public workshops in late 2022 to inform the design for the statewide notification system. Additionally, the UC Davis Center for Regional Change is independently evaluating feedback on the design and overall effectiveness of the notification pilot projects from the 4 pilot counties, and that will help inform the design of the statewide notification system. The department is currently reviewing public input from the 2022 public workshops and will review the UC Davis pilot project evaluation to inform the final design of the statewide notification system. So as a next step, the department is developing a regulation and will initiate a rulemaking process to outline the proposed legal requirements for the new system. We're also anticipating the notice of these proposed regulations sometime this year. The department is additionally in development, is in the development process for the technology and platform to launch the statewide system. And of course, the department is developing an outreach and engagement strategy to ensure that we reach all communities across California with the information on how to use this system once it is implemented. And so just to make sure that everybody's aware of this, there's some more information about the statewide notification system on DPR's website. And I am going to post the link in the chat so everybody can peruse that at their convenience. And I can take any questions. Yes, Jessica.
Less of a question and more of a related update is to, as a reminder, and we'll have the email, if we haven't sent it already, that will go out ASAP, about our pesticide subcommittee, which is next Tuesday. And we will have here CARB, DPR, and actually a community member from Eastern Coachella Valley about pesticide monitoring that's going on there, but also the plan for pesticide monitoring in your community. So I just wanted to elevate that as well.
Great, thank you. Yes, we'll be there at that, at this pesticide subcommittee meeting.
Might add that that subcommittee meeting will be a perfect time. If you have any really specific ideas about where you'd want to see the monitoring, you could bring those. And the district has already collected some of that when they've done their social pinpoint, but we will be collecting more. So if you have sort of thought of some other ideas, definitely bring those to that subcommittee meeting.
Looks like there's another question from Cesar.
Yeah, thank you. 4 pilot counties were mentioned, and I was wondering if you already had in mind what 4 counties or what the process of the, choosing those counties is.
So these are from the pilot counties from last year. So there was 4 pilot counties in 2022. And so it's just the results from those pilot projects that are going to be analyzed by both UC Davis and DPR.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that clarification.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, well, if there's any other questions, please feel free to email, I guess probably the Air District, and we'll be there next Tuesday as well if there's any questions at the pesticide subcommittee meeting. Thank you very much.
Can I ask one quick question? On behalf of something I've heard in some other meetings, there's some idea that there's a second round of pilot studies. Is that the case, or what does that mean? Does that sound familiar to you?
So if there's a second round of pilot studies, I'm not actively involved in the statewide notification pilot projects at DPR. However, to get more information about that, what I recommend is in that link that I shared, there is there's an email address, projectnotify@cdpr.ca.gov. I recommend to email that email address about any other potential new pilot projects. I will share that as well. Oh, great. Thank you, Jessica.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Right.
I'll look into that, by the way, and make sure we have something for you at the pesticide subcommittee meeting next week.
Thank you for that update. And yes, this conversation will definitely continue. Feel you'll have a lot more time to ask questions and make your comments at that pesticide subcommittee meeting, which is next Tuesday. And so if there are no other questions coming up right now, I'll just see if there are any other updates from the community that they would like to share right now. If not, we can move to wrapping up our meeting with some next steps, and I will share my screen with our future meeting dates. So our next CSC meeting is going to be April 26th at 5 p.m. on Zoom. Our next agenda setting meeting, which again it's a new practice that we started over the last couple months. That will be April 6th at 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And it's okay if you are unable to make it. We would also be happy to take any comments via email, or would be happy to chat with you individually at a time that's convenient for you. So that's not the only opportunity to provide input for the agendas. I think, Jessica, did you have a note that you wanted to make about the agenda setting meeting?
Maybe, did I? No, I will just say we have invited the California Geologic Energy Management Group. So essentially CalGEM, the folks that help manage and regulate oil and gas wells, along with a variety of other agencies. They are part of your community emissions reduction program, and they have committed to updating the community. And as a part of that, they are going to be invited to present or propose to you all to be at our April meeting. So just heads up that it will be a new kind of group to you, but certainly no stranger to the work being done in the Arvin Lamont area. And again, we're working pretty closely with the co-hosts on that.
That's what I was thinking. Thank you. And so we can move on to reading out loud the action items that were taken from tonight. So I'll share my screen one last time. And I'll zoom in a little bit. And so as a reminder, as I read through these action items, feel free to raise your hand or jump in with any questions for clarification or any suggestions for modifications. Also, please feel free to let us know if we missed anything that should be added for this tracker. So the first action item is the Air District and the co-leads will discuss developing new and innovative outreach and education of AB 617 support, and will discuss at the next agenda setting meeting and subsequent CSE meetings. And so I think that includes the idea about having some billboard that would be able to share information. The next action item is the Fresca team will provide more information on how to become part of the study. The Air District will also disseminate any outreach to the CSC to stay informed. Everybody is also encouraged to reach out to the Fresca team. I think Cesar shared his contact information in the chat. The next action item is the CSC recommends moving forward with the sidewalk paving for Lamont. The Air District will submit the plans for CARB approval. Updates on next steps for doing the same work in Arvin will be provided at subsequent meetings. The last action item is the Air District Air Monitoring Team will be reaching out to Ag, I believe that might be the Ag department, community colleges, and one of our CSE members to determine if it's possible to install a monitor on these specific sites and locations that have been suggested by the CSC. And so those were the action items that we captured, but again, I'll just pause to see if there's anything that we missed or anything that should be changed. I'm not seeing any. And so we can continue to wrap up our meeting. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here tonight. This was a really productive meeting, and I think we're all feeling really excited about these next steps. I would love to invite our co-leads and the Air District for any closing remarks. So happy to start with Cesar. Would you like to share any closing remarks?
No, I think just thank you to everyone that participated, and I definitely look forward to seeing other regulatory branches like CalGEM come and take part. So if anyone in the CSC has any concerns or any sites that they are interested in to bringing up to CalGEM for the next meeting, I'd love to do that. I know there's a site in front of Arvin High School next to Nelson Court that caused an evacuation of a few CSC members here. There's the site in front of Grimway Academy and down the street from Grimway Academy where there was a small pool of oil. So there is no lack of neighborhood drilling sites to bring attention to. And I'm looking forward to that next meeting where we can get updates from CalGEM.
Yeah, thank you. Bianca, any closing remarks?
I want to thank the committee here for all their work. It's been a hard process, and now that we're seeing wonderful outcomes, I appreciate every single one of you that has been committed to the process and making this changes in the community. It hasn't been easy, and now that we're seeing nice incentives coming out, and I want to appreciate them, give them a thank you, a big hug for all their amazing work.
Yes, thank you so much for those warm thoughts. Jessica, would love to invite you as well.
I will echo the same thanks. I am grateful for all of you. Again, it's clear you don't just spend 2 hours a month with us, but several of you come to other meetings. You are meeting before and after the meetings. You are canvassing the neighborhood, and that does not go unnoticed. And I think we saw the fruits of that tonight. And I just look forward to continuing to work with you all and just enjoy your evening and stay safe and stay dry. I know a lot of people have been impacted, especially down there with the storm. So I'm thinking of you all, and I hope you have a great night.